Yesterday was what they called Spring Training Day at the Commons. Well, actually, it's not the Commons, it was in Maryland. But the diocese has held now for 3 years, and about half a dozen of us went there. It was from 9:30 to 4, and there were all kinds of workshops and classes and talk backs on a number of different subjects. And I thought mostly what we do today at the sermon time is have a couple of people who were along with us share a few things about what went on that day with you guys. So, Flora, why don't you break the ice?
The first workshop I attended was called Communications, and it was just all about how to communicate information via bulletins, print, and media. So it was, just continuing with the Facebook that I do. The second one I attended was parish archives and the importance of keeping parish records so that you have a complete history. And the importance of what things need to be archived at the diocese and how to set up your own archives in the parish. And let me tell you, that's going to be a job, but I'm going to start working on it. And the third one was called Can't Keep It to Myself. It was about evangelism. I'm not sure why I chose that, but I did learn something that I never realized before. When you hear the word evangelism, especially as Episcopalians, we kind of like cringe and think, oh God, no! But what I realized is evangelism isn't discussing with someone the theology of the church. It's just simply telling your own story, how you relate to God, an experience you've had when you've been healed or something profoundly good has happened to you. And I thought, oh, that makes a lot of sense. You just think that, you cringe from getting into a discussion with someone about religion. So that makes it a little bit easier. And so it was a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, Flora. I know a priest who studied at a seminary in California, and in his class on evangelism, they said when you travel, it's a perfect time to evangelize because you have a captive audience right next to you on the bus or plane or anything. So he said every time he traveled, he'd start to get hives because he thought he had to convert the person to Took him years to get over that. I asked also Paul Manfredi if he would share some thoughts about his experience.
I have to say that the invocations really set the tone. We used Corinthians and we talked about the various gifts people could offer to the organization and how we present ourselves. It was really important because there were 400 people there from a variety of parishes, and that kind of really allowed us to share ideas and events. The first class I attended was aggressive behavior. How to manage that, how to present yourself, and how to deal with individuals. The other two are financially orientated. One was the vestry and business, and the last was endowment management. But I think what I got most out of it is being able to talk to people from other parishes and realizing that their needs, their issues, and their drivers aren't really that much different than the ones we have today. And that we really are part of a worldwide organization.
I also was there, and I was actually one of the leaders of a session on the future of the cathedral in our diocese. I may have mentioned this to you guys before, that I'm on a committee that is looking at that, at what a cathedral is, and what, whether we need a cathedral, what the cathedral, the place of the cathedral in the Episcopal Church generally is, and we're going to give a report to convention in the fall. We wanted some feedback for that. I also attended a workshop on stewardship, which was great, led by a wonderful man from a church in Massachusetts who's very experienced about that, and a worship on what they call best practices, what works and what doesn't. That was not quite what I expected. It was good in its own way, but I wasn't expecting what it was. There were about 25 of us, and Tim Hodat led it, and he had us talk about areas where there's the most energy in our parishes, in places like stewardship, like pastoral care, like worship, like Christian formation. Energy, both positive and negative. Where there was the most going on, places where there was conflict. And then we shared stories. We shared success and failure stories. And at the end, for the last 10 minutes, we picked one area, split us up into 3 groups, and we picked one area to focus on and made a list of the things that worked best in that area, and then picked one thing from that. So there was something concrete that everybody took away. But I'm going to emphasize what you said, Paul. At least for me, what was best and most useful about it all was that it gave us a chance to listen to each other, and which is one of the most important things that we do as Christians. We each of us hear the will of God in some particular way, our own way, and that way is always limited to some degree or other. So when we hear each other's stories, the way we each hear the will of God and try to live it out, it deepens and freshens our experience of God, our awareness of the way God is at work in our lives. That's why it's enlivening to be part of larger church contexts beyond our own walls here. In our deanery, which is meeting next Tuesday, which Flora is the chairman of now. In our diocese, which gives us opportunity to listen and to learn from so many different environments. And the importance of listening came up at our Lent program last week. And if you thought you were going to get away today without a sermon, no such luck. Sorry. It's Lent. Just a little bit. In the book we've been reading by Henry Nouwen, he talks about the word obedience. Many people don't like that word because to them it signifies mere submission, blind obedience. But Nouwen points out in the book that the root of obedience, the root word, is the Latin word audire, which means to listen, to hear. So to be obedient means to listen. More than that, I looked it up, and the prefix ob means complete. So obedience is complete listening. True obedience is not blind or unthinking at all. To the contrary, it is listening that understands completely what the other is saying. Obedience comes up in today's reading from Hebrews. He learned obedience through what he suffered, referring to Jesus. And Jesus suffers not only on the cross. In the Gospel of John, there is no scene in the Garden of Gethsemane. That's only in Matthew, Mark, and Luke, where Jesus is tempted. He's praying alone right before his arrest. But in today's reading from John, we heard the crucial moment from that scene. We heard that spiritual reality in the life of Jesus. Jesus said today, "Now my soul is troubled, and what should I say? Father, save me from this hour?" In the other Gospels it says, "Father, let this cup pass from me." In that one little moment, Jesus is not completely listening to God. This is his temptation. This is his suffering. And then he turns immediately right back in the right direction. "No," he says today, "it is for this reason that I have come to this hour." In the other Gospels, it's nevertheless not my will, but yours, Father. Jesus stands with us. Jesus shows us how to listen. We are called to listen for the Spirit of God. In that listening is life and breath and perfect freedom. So let us listen joyfully. Thanks be to God. Amen.